beyond the finish line. And my very first guest is Jamal.
Wait, I'm the first?
You're my first.
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
yeah, I had two other people and they had to reschedule. So you're my first.
Oh, I gotta do well, man. I gotta do well.
No pressure. No
I'm
pressure.
flattered. I'm flattered.
No pressure. No pressure. I'd like to welcome on as my first guest, Jamal Hamid. I met Jamal at another gym. I don't know if we should mention it or not, but I met him as a trainer at another gym.
Doesn't matter.
And hmm?
It doesn't matter. You can mention
Doesn't
it. Yeah.
matter. I mean, the person's great, but we met at another gym and he was training clients. And one day we got an opportunity to talk. This man's background is extensive and you would never know because he's just so nonchalant. When you see Jamal come across the gym, you see the tall figure and he's just real cool, real calm. Meanwhile, his background, I'm like, you did what? You coached who in the UFC? And, so I'm just going to let Jamal say who he is and what he does. And this is what I mean. Like, you cannot judge a book by its cover. And by the way, Jamal decided one day that he was going to do a show. He did, I'm saying women, he did a men's classic physique. He's like, yeah, I just decided to jump into the show. I won,
I got lucky that day.
Yeah,
God was
no,
with me. What can I say?
that wasn't luck. His physique is insane, but you never know because he just wears sweats, so you don't know.
All the
So
time. It's a secret.
it's a secret. Okay, now I know. So Jamal, Mr. Intensity, tell us who you are.
My name is Jamal Hamid. At this point of my life, I am not just a trainer, a nutritionist, a health coach. I've also opened up my own supplement company, Intensity Labs, where I have pre-workouts, from pre-workouts to greens and all natural supplement. And I mean, I have many different business endeavors that I'm involved in right now. But the truth of the matter is, my passion has always been training, has always been fitness. And it's funny because I've trained from 5-year-old kids with disabilities all the way to 80-something-year-old clients that are having trouble getting out of their chair and their bed and so forth, and everything in between, the whole spectrum. So a lot of people love to sit there and bring up, the UFC fighters and the professional boxers and the football players and the Hall of Fame, this and that. And it's great. You know what I love about that more so is because I could take the educational background that I have, put it into play, full spectrum, and actually watch everything that I've learned and the knowledge that I have, my artistic nature when it comes to fitness. When I'm putting together program design and stuff like that, I can actually watch my design and my program come into fruition with my athlete. You know what I mean? So it's like fun. When it comes to professional athletes, yes, you just want to beat them down because they can take it. And that's what they need to be at the level they're at. But when it comes to other people who may have ailments or just, the housewife or the weekend warrior that works all week and just needs to get in on the weekend and make sure he's doing something that can help towards being healthy and fit, I love it all. I can't say that I have a specific preference because I don't. I love the challenge from every aspect. I do. But yes, I have trained a lot of professional UFC fighters, boxers, Hall of Fame football players, basketball players, baseball players, actors, and it's great. It definitely is great because
But
a lot of them have become champions, and
that's a unique thing that you have, though. That's unique because usually people have a specific group, and the fact that you run the spectrum, that's a very unique skill set.
It's funny because a lot of people say that, like, you got to have a niche. And the truth is, I've been in fitness and I've been a trainer since I was 17. I'm 44 years old. You know what I mean? I've been in the game for, being a trainer for over 20 something years, 27 years, So along my years, when I first got into training, I just did a certification in the mail. Like, when the newspaper came, ACE was in the mail, like in the newspaper. You just sent away, got the book, you did the book, send away for the test. And if you passed, you're a trainer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was my first ever certification, but I used my knowledge to train myself and the rest of my cousins and my with Ramses. You know Ramses, my
Yes.
cousin.
Yep.
We
Yep.
in the gym, we just training each other, we're working out, we're everybody's just trying to be better. Whoever I could help in the gym, I would. And as I got older, my knowledge just got even more extensive and I just started to expand on everything. And for years, since I was young, I used to kickbox. So kickboxing, boxing, I played baseball, I played football, I ran track, I swam. I mean, I did every sport. I was a two sport college athlete, scholarship athlete. So I was always into sports. So sports in training an athlete and training myself and knowing what an athlete needs to be at that level was natural to me. It came natural because my parents, when I was young, what got me into this is everybody has their story. And I can't sit there and say everybody's story is similar, like when it comes from where I'm coming from. But the truth is, everybody does have a story. Something
Yeah.
hits so hard, and something makes some kind of change. And I grew up with my grandparents. They pretty much raised me. And my grandfather was legally blind. He was blinded because when he came to the United States and tried to find work, his employee thought it was funny because he had an accent. He's from Trinidad. We're from Trinidad. He had
Okay.
an accent. He never really heard the accent before, but he would just love making my grandfather say and do things because it would make him laugh. So one day he decided to take a bottle of Coca-Cola up and give it to him, the glass bottle, thinking that he would open it and it would explode on him. And it's all like a little prank, a little joke. Didn't know that my grandfather would use, you got to excuse me, sometimes I call him my father because
Yes.
so
That's who raised you. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so he opened a car door and tried to use the side of the car door. But back in the day, cars weren't fiberglass then; they were full blown industrial steel.
Yeah.
So once the glass hit the steel, the glass shattered and blinded my grandfather. So the joke became horrible. So as a kid, I would watch my grandfather watch the television screen from the side, trying to see, and I'd walk him to the supermarket or to go pay the mortgage. And, I would always have to walk with him and be his eyes per se.
Mm.
And I knew life wasn't the greatest. I knew things were tough, you know. I remember there's some times where we'd have an apple. He would cut the apple, shave off the skin and give me the apple and eat the skin. I'm like, yo, come on, homie. Like,
Wow.
I know you're hungry, dude. Like, just,
Wow.
share the whole apple. And I promised myself, no matter what, I wouldn't let that feeling
Yeah.
come back. I don't ever want my family to want like that. Right. So
Yeah.
as I got older, my parents told me, why don't you, maybe you should just like think about becoming a garbage man and starting earlier in life. Maybe not even worrying about school. Become a garbage man. You can put in your 20 years. You'll still be young. You'll get
Yes.
a pension, good benefits. You'll make a lot more money than everybody else at that age. Now, I mean, they had a point because
Correct.
they said they were honest. We
Yeah.
don't have the money to send you to college. So I was young. I was 13 when they were telling me this, and I
Yeah.
was just like, I want to go to college because I don't think doing that job will give my family the life that I feel like they deserve.
Correct.
And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking away from
No.
sanitation
No. But
engineers at all in any way, but I know what I
no.
wanted,
Correct.
and that wasn't the route I wanted to take.
Correct.
So all I could say was like, I am good at sports. Like everybody's always telling me how good I am, and I never really like paid attention. I just play the game. Like I just want to play, and I want to
Yeah.
win. I
Yes.
know I like winning, and I know I hate losing. That's all I
Yes.
knew. I didn't know whether or not I did a good job or not. I just
That
knew that,
wasn't the point.
yes, I just wanted to win. Like
That is
however, whatever it took to win is what I needed to do. So
right. That's right.
at 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 a young age, I lied on my working papers. I ended up waking up at 3 o'clock every morning. I ran 2 miles, swam 2 miles in a pool when we moved to Long Island from Brooklyn
Yeah.
at Hofstra University. I lied on my working papers. I started working at Hofstra a year and a half early. So
What?
I had a card that would allow me into the swim area at Hofstra. Now, if you get into the swim area, there's also a gym attached to it. So I would run 2 miles to get to Hofstra. I would swim 2 miles in the pool, hit the gym, and then walk to school. I would go to school all day. I would play my sport. I would walk from school back to Hofstra and work till 12:30 at night. And I remember my mother telling me, like, what are you doing with this job? Like,
Yes.
if you're going to do this job, you have to do it. Like, this is your job now. This is your responsibility. So don't be calling me, asking me for a ride or nothing. If you think you can handle it, I think it's too much.
Okay.
But if you're going to do it, then you're going to do it.
That's right.
I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Like, I can do it. I'm a couple weeks working there. I would pick up every shift I could possibly pick up. I didn't care. Even as a kid, I wasn't a good sleeper. I would always, so it didn't hurt me to work till 12:30, walk home at night, go to sleep and wake up at 3:30 in the morning. It didn't bother me. So
and obviously it didn't affect you academically. You were a scholar athlete.
No, yeah. So I ended up one night, it was pouring rain. I called my mom and I'm like, I need a ride home. She's like, no.
Wow.
You said you wanted this job. I was like, you're right. You're right. I hung up the phone and I started walking home. This guy that I work with, he's seeing me. He pulls over. He's like, you need a ride? And I was just like, yeah, I do. And I jump in the car. He gives me a ride home. So I was like, I got lucky. It didn't stop me though. I still woke up every morning. I still ran. I still swam. I still worked out. I did everything I had to do because my goal at this point was if I had to get to college, I got to get a scholarship.
Correct.
No matter what. So if me training and working out is going to make me a better, a stronger, a more efficient athlete, this is what I need to do because that's going to be my meal ticket. Mm-hmm. So whenever I got a chance, I'll go to the library. I would get books on eating, books on supplements. My first book I ever bought. Well, I'm sorry. I'm putting it out there right now. I'll probably get in trouble. The first book I stole from the library.
We're not telling you what library system this is. I know which one because I live in the area. But I ain't gonna say nothing.
So was Arnold Schwarzenegger's body encyclopedia of bodybuilding.
Oh wow.
Now the book was like this big. It was huge, but it had everything. It had all the movements of working out. It had food. It had diet plans. It had workout plans. It had supplements. It had everything in the book. And I said, it's a one-stop shop. I'm going to take this book first, and then I'm going to go and get a book on training athletes, a book on supplements for athletes, the whole 9 yards. I did it all myself. So sure enough, I ended up, thank you, by the grace of God, I got a scholarship. I went to University of Maryland. I played ball at Maryland. And that fitness and training and working out got me to that point. Now, when I went to school, my parents were like, all right, you're going to school, you're going to college, you're good at science, you should be pre-med. So I went in pre-med, I hated it, absolutely hated it.
Okay.
I just can't be the bearer of bad news. Like, I don't care if I go in and do surgery and save 1 million people. The day I got to come into a room and tell somebody that their loved one is dying because of cancer or something, I'm taking it home with me, and I don't like it.
Okay.
So I'm just like, you know what?
This is not for me.
I got to figure out a different route.
Okay.
So I did physical therapy. This is where I learned my knowledge with training kids that were injured or have disabilities all the way up to, the 84-year-olds that I have to train, right? So
I'm going to have to pause you for a second because I didn't know this part. I did not know this part. But go ahead.
I did.
Wow.
I did. So I ended up going to school, did all my prerequisites for physical therapy, got my 1,000 hours in a clinic and hospital. And then the therapist was like, Jamal, like, you're better than this. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you're a physical therapist. He's like, dude, I think you're really just like holding yourself back. He's like, you're not going to be happy doing this. He's like, I see the look on your face every time we're about to expand and take someone to another level, and then insurance cuts them off and they're no longer here, and you get like, oh man, we were just about to do this. And yeah, we were, but unfortunately, and it's all about insurance, and now they're gone. And you look so disappointed. He's like, Honestly, if you right now were to just get into personal training, you'd make a killing, and you're young, you love it, you got the energy for it. Like, I
Yes.
think you'll kill it. I think you'll make 3 times the amount as a physical therapist. And I said, I got a certification already when I was like 17, but I mean, like, really, you think I can make some serious money? He's like, yes. So I said, okay. I go to a gym, first gym ever. I have to put this out there because there's going to be bumps in the road that I think a lot of people have to realize that it's a must. If
Yeah.
something is too easy, yo,
Yes.
turn around. Turn
Turn
around.
around. It is not for you.
Turn around. You gotta fight, man. You gotta fight.
Yes.
You gotta, there's gotta be hills, there's gotta be mountains, there's gotta be boulders. I'm sorry. I don't care. If you want the
Yeah.
easy route, I ain't the guy to talk to.
Nope.
Like, I'm not the guy to talk to. I'm not the guy to train with. I'm not the guy to ask questions to. Like, it's not gonna happen, like,
It's
at
so
all.
true because how are you going to live life? Because what I found in my own personal life, those scars, it thickens the skin a little bit and it gets you ready for the next level. Those
Oh
bumps in
yeah,
the road, they just create the stones, the stepping stone that you need to get to that next level. So you need to bump, you need to scrape your knees, you need to, get elbow and get dirty because that is what prepares you for that next level. If it's
agreed.
easy, like when you train your clients, easy doesn't get them to the intensity. You got to
Yep,
increase the intensity
exactly.
in order for them to get to that next level. But
Like,
yes,
everyone at this point, at this stage right now, with social media being out there, meanwhile, I don't like social media like that, but Jordan Peterson says it right. He says, an easy life makes for weak men.
yes,
A hard
yes.
life makes for strong men. Plain and simple. I don't.
That,
I
that
don't.
that's for women too. For the ladies
Yes,
out there,
yes. When
that
I
goes
say
for you
men,
too.
I mean
Yes,
humans. I'm sorry.
correct.
I'm
No, no,
sorry.
no, no.
By all means.
Please go ahead.
So it's. So I had a podcast. I was on a podcast a while back, and I said I don't like anything easy. It's just like if I go in the gym and I suck at squats, that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna squat and squat until I make it the best thing I could possibly do. There is no weakest link in it now. Okay.
Agreed.
There is no weakest link. I don't
Yeah.
like upright rows. I'm gonna upright row every damn day until it's my favorite move. There is no weakest link. That's
Yes,
how I feel like people need to attack the bumps and the mountains that they have in front of them.
that's right.
So I get a job as a personal trainer. The first client I get is a woman, and she says to me she wants to train Monday through Friday. I said, "Wow, I got 5 sessions already for the week, and I want you to also train my husband at 6 p.m." She wanted 5 a.m. At 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. I said, "Shit, day one, I already got 10 sessions in the bag. This is wonderful." So I trained the woman and the husband for about a month, and at this point, the owner and the manager are like, "Listen, Jamal, you haven't paid us for the sessions." I said, "Yeah, I know. I have a problem asking them for the money, but I'm gonna tell them tonight when they come in." So the man comes in, and I say, "Look, you got to pay me for the sessions. You know, um, we're excuse me, we're like 10 sessions in a week, and it's been a month. That's 40 sessions."
Yeah.
So he's like, "Yeah, I'll bring it for you tomorrow. I'll give it to my wife," he says. The next morning, she comes in. He didn't give it to me. He'll give it to you when he comes in. This goes on for half a week. So then he comes in one night. I'm like, "Look, my manager and the owner are very upset with me. They're withholding my check, and I owe them a lot of money. You have to pay me." He's like, "You normally work out right after me, right?" And I said, "Yes." He says, "When we're done training, here's my address." Gave me a sheet of paper with the address. "Do your workout. Come meet me at the house. I'll give you the cash." I said, "Okay, fair enough." I can't even finish my workout. My mind, every time I see the manager and the owner, I'm like, they're looking at
Stress.
me like, this kid, I don't like owning people's stuff. So I'm just like,
Yes.
I got to get the money now. So I leave. I walk around the corner to the guy's house. The lights are on. I ring the doorbell. I see the curtains move. Nobody answers. The lights go off. So I'm like,
What?
all right, whatever. Maybe they got a little baby, so maybe they're putting the baby to sleep. So I start knocking on the door lightly so I don't interrupt the baby, right? Once again, that's me thinking about them.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So I knock. I'm like, they're probably putting the baby to sleep. Let me just sit on the stoop and wait for a little bit. All of a sudden, you got about 3-4 squad cars pulling up. Police officers come up. They're like, we got a call for disturbing the peace, harassment, trespassing.
What?
And I'm like, oh no, that's not for me. I'm supposed to be here. They're like, your name is Jamal, right? I was like, yeah. They're like, yeah, unfortunately the phone call's for you. Now, once again, I have to bring this up because I at this point was a very, very hot-headed person.
Mm-hmm.
I could have got 7 warning shots in my back that night. I was very, very irate. And if it wasn't for the police officers that night being extremely, extremely calm, they were like, look, sir, we don't even know what's going on. All I want you to do is to just take a walk with me right to the curb and just explain to me what's going on. Yep. So I got a phone call, and he was cool. He was like, I got a phone call. I need to address the phone call. So let me address it by removing you from here, and we have the conversation on the curb.
Correct.
That's all I want.
Yes.
And I was just like, no, I ain't going nowhere. And they're like, come on, please, like just. And now they're not surrounding me, nothing, but it's like 6 police officers. They're just standing there. They're like, don't worry, young man, you're good. Don't worry about it. We just want to talk. Like, just chill. Nobody was like aggressive. Yes. Thank God.
Thank God. I'm like, wow.
At this point in my life, I've already been in situation after situation with police and doing nothing. So I'm looking at them and I'm like, I'm not even in the least bit worried. So all of a sudden, like, I'm calm.
Yes.
I gotta say thank God, because that's them and the way they address me, which you don't normally see.
Yes, because you see the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, you know what? Let me listen to these guys, man. They're not even bugging out on me.
Yeah.
Nobody tried to touch me. Nobody's got their hand on their gun, nothing. Like, you know what? So I walk off. And needless to say, I had to go about getting my money other ways. But this was my first ever group of clients. I had a feeling they were looking through the window in hopes that either I would have gotten hurt or arrested, just so I didn't have to pay the bill.
I didn't have to pay the bill.
So I said to myself, I said, self, I don't know if this is the feels for me. I could have easily turned away and did something else.
Absolutely. Because that would have left a sour taste in my mouth.
I was like, nah, this is not for me. So I took some time off for doing it. And one of my boys was like, yo, Jamal, man, you're really good at it, man. You should get back into it. You should do it. He talked me into it. He says, but go into an affluent area where money is not an issue. So maybe you don't have anything to worry about, right? Maybe to change it and do that. So I said, okay. So I ended up going to Garden City in Ohio, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
I remember the guys over there like, listen, it's going to take you a good 8 months to really get on your feet, but you'll make like 50 or 60,000 after like that. And I'm like,
50?
8 months, 60,000. I was like, man,
you don't know who you're talking to.
Give me 3 months.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, seriously, like, it's going to take a little while. They got to get accustomed to you. I was like, my manager gave me a schedule, and I said, look, can I just come in here when the gym opens and leave when the gym closes? I don't care when I'm on the shift. You ain't even got to pay me. He's like, what? I was like, whatever shift you want me to be here for, I'll be here, because I'm going to be here to open, and I'm going to stay all day till it closes. I will not leave this building until I'm making over 100 grand. I'm sorry. And he's like, as long as you're here for the shift that I'm giving you, I don't care what you do. Sure enough, 3 months in, probably the #1 selling trainer in that company. I won the High Impact Award about 5 years in a row.
Wow.
And at that point, I realized, and then throughout that time, I said to myself, I was like, I got to set myself aside from everybody else.
Yes.
I'm going to go get my master's in exercise physiology. And then Columbia University came out with a program for holistic nutrition.
Yes.
And I said, I'm going to get that too. And it was literally, and me and Ramsey just bought a house. So I was like,
yes.
I don't even know how we're going to do this right now, but I'm going to go to school full time Monday through Thursday. at Adelphi to get my master's in exercise physiology. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I want to do the accelerated program at Columbia and get my degree there too.
And train clients?
And had a full-time training schedule. And I knocked it out. It was 1 year. I knocked out 1 whole year of doing it. It was the worst year of my life.
Oh, I can only.
And
What?
but you know what? Listen, it reaped
What?
so much benefit for me that, you know, still to this day I can tell the story. But the truth is, I just sit back sometimes and I listen and I watch trainers, you know, who just have a certification and they don't really have like a vast knowledge
They don't.
of what they're doing and why they're doing it. Now, I'm not knocking anybody, but it's like I sit back and I'm proud of myself because I could have easily taken the route of just having a personal training certification and calling it a day. I could have still been sitting here, the same person I am now with just a certification. So I was able to accomplish that, and I think it did expand my knowledge and broaden my views on life and training and nutrition and everything. So it helped me
to become better.
Yes.
So now if we go back to that kid from Brooklyn, the one who saw his father, I'm just going to call him your father. His father who was taking care of the family, his father to go from being able to take care of his family, not being able to take care of his family through no fault of his own. This kid from Brooklyn to come to Long Island to work these hours. I mean, it is, your story is a story of grit, determination, just intensity. Like you really took yourself to that next level. And as painful as it was, as hurtful as certain periods were, you still came out to be the man that stands before us, who is an entrepreneur, who is a phenomenal personal trainer, coach, father, husband. I mean, this man has children who look up to him. And are you still traveling back and forth from New York to Florida for your business?
Back and forth all the time.
With all of these things that happen, what would you say, if you had to describe yourself in one word, what would you say?
I would say I would have used a phrase, not one word.
Okay. What phrase?
All gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes.
That's my life.
So now I'm going to look at it from the other side. All gas, no brakes. Yes, go hard, go home, leave it all. But is there a time where you have to kind of touch on the brakes?
I have suffered injuries in the gym and sports that maybe my all gas, no brakes mentality caused that. But at the same time, I don't care. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for the world. I could have maybe pumped the brakes just a little bit when I was playing a little bit minor league baseball, and it could have prevented an injury, and I could have made it pro and made millions. But then again, I wouldn't have the babies I have right now.
Yeah.
So everything would be different. The way things are going right now is the way I want it to go. That's the only way I have it.
So now,
I don't care. Huh?
So were you able to achieve your goal? That 8-year-old young man said, I'm going to take care of my family.
Well, yes, I definitely achieve that. And I'm still in the process of trying to give more. I don't see, it's easy for me. I don't want nothing. What I want is for everybody else. I don't want anything for me. Like you always say, like, you know, you see Jamal in the gym with big old sweats,
just real nonchalant, calm. Humble, very humble.
I can wear the same sweatpants, the same sweatshirt for a whole month. I don't give a damn. I don't care. I don't need anything. I don't want anything. The only thing I want is success that could trickle down to my family. That's it. That's all I want. I don't want nothing else. So if I literally have to sleep 1 hour a night to make it happen, then by all means, 23 hours a day of work is what I got to do. I don't care. I really don't. It doesn't bother me. I actually I embrace it. I enjoy it. It is what it is.
I love it. I love your
Yeah.
story.
So yeah, and that was the training part. And I've done martial arts all my life. So in a martial art gym, whenever I would have time, I would go and I would spar, I'd kickbox, I'd box. And one day this guy was just like, when is your fight? I was like, oh no, I'm not. I'm too old, man. I'm not fighting anymore. He's like, wait, you just do this for fun? I was like, yeah, I love it. This is. I said, I told him, I said, I have a very I'm high strung. I have like a little temper. This, along with weight training, keeps me extremely mellow. And I give the analogy all the time. If you cut me off and I didn't get a chance to work out and kickbox, I'm following you to your house. If I get all that stuff in, there's no way you're cutting me off because I'm giving you the lane.
Yeah, you'd be like, take it.
It's all yours. Yeah, go ahead. And I'll wave at you too. I don't care. You give me the finger. I'm like, no doubt, whatever. So I use it for many different reasons. But the funny thing is, that guy was like, how old are you? And I told him I was in my 30s. He's like, damn, when I'm 30, I want to be able to move like you.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not hard. It takes work, it takes time, dedication, and you can do it. This is a regimen for me. I do it every day. All of a sudden, I get the head coach of the gym asking me to come down to help train a guy that he thinks will beat Anderson Silva in the UFC, which Anderson Silva is probably the Hall of Fame combat sports fighter that probably will go down in the history of the greatest fighter of all time.
He's amazing.
And I said, wait. I said, come on, man. You think somebody's gonna beat Anderson Silva? He's like, I think we have someone that could do it. I said, all right, I'm on my way down. And it's this guy. And he's like, yes, if this is the coach I'm gonna have, this is the coach I'm gonna use. And he hired me. And I asked him what his goal was in life. He says, I want to be the guy that beats Anderson Silva. I want to make history. And I want to be the greatest middleweight fighter in the history of UFC. I said, do you know what that entails, though? Like, do you really know what that means? I was like, if you know what it means, I won't have this conversation with you and we could just get to work.
Wow. If
you don't, we need to sit down and we need to talk and see if you really do want that after I tell you what it entails. And he was another guy that for his family was all gas, no brakes.
Okay.
And I said, we're going to do this. Every single person that I knew, my family, even my mother was like, tell this kid not to fight this man, Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva will kill him. He is an animal. There's no way he's going to win. This is not going to be good for your career. Tell him to lie and say he's sick. And don't take the fight. I said, Mom, we're going to win. She's like, there's no way. Everyone said there's no way. So I said, okay. So I told him, I said, listen, there's nothing but doubt following us. And that's a great thing.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
Yeah.
You got nothing to lose.
No, because you can't go any further down. You can't go any lower than that.
Listen.
No one is expecting anything.